Right, sorry about that. It's not ideal, was it? The yes, my machine did indeed crash. Very irritating. Right, let's carry on. Moment. I think everything is fine again. Um, yeah, it just kind of crashed. I do need to check on my... Oh, I just realised my camera settings all shot again. That's going to be very irritating if they are. I'm not sure I have a good way of fixing that either. Yes, of course it's done that. There we go. Yeah, that's much less annihilated. Right, hello. Sorry about that. I did indeed just crash out. But yeah, let's carry on. So, for those of you who are just joining, I know this doesn't look like a drone. That's because it's a very, very tiny part of a drone. So if I zoom out and actually turn on the rest of the drone, also I hope you can all hear me okay and everything. But yeah, if I re-enable the housing so that you can see what it looks like. So this is the head of the drone. And of course, as usual, doing very silly levels of detail modeling. Yeah, this sort of head of the drone. The idea is that the body of it has a rail, and then the head can move across it and rotate. And it's got these three standard sort of large lens. I say large; they're like 18mm lenses on the front of them. But I kind of want one that's kind of like bristled. So you get like a bunch of cameras that can move this way. In an array like a two columns of them coming down. And for that, I am modeling a tiny little camera CCD based on this reference image, which is a nice reference image. It's off Wikipedia. So I'm doing a tiny little CCD for that. And what I was doing before my machine so rudely crashed was some material editing. So let's turn the housing body of this back off again so I can actually see what I'm up to. So yeah, I was messing with the anisotropy of the silicon material that I've created, which is so this silicon material here is based on it's based on chrome material. And what I was doing is you could do an interesting little thing you can do. Just bring up the anisotropy on this to like 0.3 or something, and then add a little pinky purple, I guess, and then apply it, and you get this very yeah, I'm not entirely sure, like... I guess that just, like, adds more lines or something? I don't know. Yeah, gives it a little bit more interest in the colour. But yeah, if anybody in chat has any questions about what I'm doing or, like, any of the random nonsense that I'm getting along with here, just let me know. I will attempt to respond in a reasonable manner. So I think it actually lost the duplicated material that I made. I don't see it on here, so I'll just duplicate it again. And then make a, like, the lighter part. So this is going to go slightly more this way. I think I'm going to, yeah, alter the anisotropic on this again. I'll change the angle a bit, like 25 degrees. Let's make it 45 actually. And then go kind of green with this one. And then I'm going to apply that to... You see, that's the problem with this. You have to bring it, like, really far down. I'm not sure on this one, because that looks too much to me. If I bring that way down, what happens? Not a lot. Oh, did I change the base material? No. Maybe that's too much. It's looking a little better. Yeah, the base material needs to be lighter. Yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, right, yeah, the next thing is going to be all these little, like, the little structures on there. So I'm going to have periodic little points for where I'm going to reference as where the bond wires connect. Crappy song. There we go. And yes, I'm aware that you can't hear the music, but that's for a reason. One, you might not like my music. And two, copyright law's a bitch. And yes, I know I can use the rectangle tool for this, rectangle pattern tool for this, but eh. Quite like this as a starting point. Oh, I just realised I've done all of these in the wrong position. I'll have to move them in a moment because they can't touch the border. So yeah, move these though using the tool. Or at least you would think I could move them. But because, damn it. Because I've drawn them like, I'm going to undo and redeal them all. That's very irritating. Basically, because they share a border, they can't be removed. Because technically the shape doesn't have an outer border because it just uses the existing one. That's annoying. Never mind. Let's redo all this. Yeah, that crash actually made me jump. You know, like how it repeats the last like whatever's in the audio buffer. It's just like very irritating, but also very much made me jump because it was quite loud, and I'm wearing headphones. Mm. Yeah, if people wonder why I take so long to model things, it's because I do silly things like model the CCD of a camera when I'm making a camera. Like, it's not fun unless the detail level is just ridiculous. Much more fun that way. Okay, so we've got all of those now. I might do some of this all in one. So if I zoom in, I can start doing some of these really small structures. Yeah. So none of these actually have to be like aligned to a grid here. There's effectively just making all of these like little sections for this. Let's go with like this. By the way, if any of you are into like sort of synthwavy metal stuff, a playlist called Industrial Synthwave Metal on Industrial Synthwave Metal on Spotify, and it is pretty good. It's got a lot of like, yeah, industrial synthwave stuff, but like Rammstein and a bunch of other stuff. Pretty good. Yeah, Dance with the Dead as well. I like them. So there's this like weird. This one does actually touch the outer section of it. This is gonna look pretty cool when I'm done. I am gonna save this because this is a recovered version. Sure, I don't lose that again. If it crashes again, hooray! Yeah. Now, if you're thinking This is going to be a massive pain in the ass to select all of these individual little bits. You would be right. Although, fortunately, selection filters are very helpful, so I think I can do it without having to mess about with lots of tiny little bits. Let's go this side. Let's make that one slightly bigger. Getting there with this. Oops. Oh, whoops. I think I'm doing lines here, not rectangles. Hmm. Yeah, I like that. So, well, this one's kind of interesting. Zoom in on this. I like that. Fusion gets really kind of weird about structures this tiny, like 0.1 of a millimeter. It's quite hard to control the mouse when I'm doing this stuff. It's kind of slow as well when it's Get there though. Damn, a bit of music. This is like my first time properly listening to this particular playlist, and it keeps coming up with some damn good tracks. Spoiler by Hyper, if you want to go and find it and listen in. Right, what else we got going on here? So there's like a little weird kind of cross structure going on here, and then I think I'm just going to put like a little lip here. Yeah. Let's not let me zoom any further than this. No. Oh yeah, it does. My bad. Just can't do it with a. Couldn't do it with a mouse for some reason. It wouldn't let me like scroll zoom. Very irritating. Right. Then we're gonna have some sort of barrier part here. Oops. I think that kind of starting to look like a some silicon. Okay. Like that. Okay. Maybe go with right. So, oops. Then selection filters are going to help me a ton here because I only want sketch profiles. Select that. and then it takes a while. Yep. So, and I can unselect the parts I don't want. Actually, the other way around, because then it becomes a nice little effect. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down by like 0.02 of a millimeter. Really, really small. And it's going to take its time. It's basically just subtracting all this. It's going to take a minute. Always does. Oh, I just realized there's a couple of places that I need to deselect. It's one of them. It's also far too much. Every time I change it, it's going to take forever. I just realized I think I'm subtracting the main CCD area as well, which I don't want to do. This is the slowest bit about modeling things. Having to wait for fusion. I apologise for this not being very exciting. There we go. That's like way too much though. Even half that's going to be too much. So there we go. Right. Does look pretty cool. Although it's not done. It is very much not done. Because I need to go. Oh, I just realised I did all of that in the main. That's irritating. Oh well. not what I wanted to do. And you can't move it, unfortunately, once you've done that. You can't move sketches for some reason. I don't really understand why, but... So, if I turn off... Yeah, there we go. Well, on the plus side, I can get the bodies in there. I should save. Cool. So, now... If I... Yeah, do... Was it minus 0.005? I believe. That's fine. There we go. Right. So, this was the border. It's the CCD area. And these are all the individual little pieces, I believe. Yes. So, using the parent selector, I can now do that. Now that looks pretty cool. I like that. That looks pretty damn good. Cool. Yeah, that's what I want. And then I'm confused. Why is that not part of the, or is that one of the bodies as part of the small camera? Oh. CCD area, yeah. There we go. It's quite reasonable. Okay, looks like it lost the materials for the rest of this, which is unfortunate but fixable. Right, let's make some bond wires. So they've got to come down. First, let's make some pads, actually. In any of this, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 per side, right? 1, 2, 4. Yes, 8 per side. Hmm. How long is that distance? 2.4 millimeters. So why is that hard for me to remember? It's 0.3 millimeters gap for 8, right? Oh no, because you've got to divide by 7. Yes, because they need 7 spaces. So 2.4 over 7 is about 0.35. I think that works. Come on. There we go. And then I'm going to use the rectangular pattern tool for this one because so 8 of them, and I think it's 0.35. No. Is it just 0.3? Weird. Apparently it is. Let's use like 0.2. Yeah, about 0.285. That's about right. So I think what I'll do is I'll make them into, yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I'm gonna For some reason the performance gets really bad when you zoom like really far in. I don't understand why. Wait, was it 285 or was it 2? Oh, for God's sake. Very irritating. Or is it just longer on one side? Doesn't really make sense to me. Oh, it's because I've got 7 of them. Yeah, that works. Right. So... Oh, of course it's going to select everything. So... Sketch curves, I believe it is. Yeah. Ah. Irritating. So now I can just copy this over. Wait. Apparently I can't. Stupid. Oh, right. It's far too high. Stupid damn thing. Well, that was annoying. This might take a while. They're not giving me carpal tunnel this. Oh, that looks pretty cool already. Right, and then I'm going to do a component for the bond wires because I want to just be able to replicate those. So bond wire. It's not right. Ellipse. Oh yeah, I forgot it does this. Then you, yeah. This is for that little like deformation of the end piece where it bonds onto the pad. Let's go with like 0.0. Yeah, maybe about that much. This is of course made of gold. Why can't I? No, that's too big, I think. I'll shrink that down. Because bond wires are really, really tiny. Yeah. Then I can do this. Was it also in question? Hello, studded plug. I don't think I've seen you in here before, but yeah, I do like Diablo. Diablo 2, I used to play back in the day, very, very long time ago. I played D3 for a little while after they got rid of uh, the real money for items thing, which sucked. I think I'm going to make that 0.02. That's an interesting point, actually. The bond wires are going to get kind of interesting because the path they're going to take is going to be different for each one, and I don't want to have to model them all manually. I do actually need to put in a horizontal line here because and then create a reference plane for creating a sketch for the sweep path. Now, so yeah, if I then zoom out, I can go construct plane angle and then a 90-degree plane. Stupid thing. Might have to turn off the rest of the, at least the camera parts, because they're sticking out. So then let's create a sketch. And I need to turn off CCD frame, and there's probably some other parts here, like what's this? Oh, that's the actual. Oh, yeah, never mind. So then from this point, I'm going to create a curve. I think that's reasonable for now. I can always tweak it later. So then make it follow this path. Go. Yeah, that needs to come up a little bit on that end, I think. So these bond wires look kinda too big. Oh, yeah, because for some reason I did that. I'm not sure why. But yeah, the bond wires do kind of still look too big. So maybe edit this sketch, and that's not the right sketch. This one. So if I edit the sketch, I can probably bring this circle in a little. Let's go with maybe even just like 10 microns would make sense actually. So now I can go sweep. There we go. That looks much more like a reasonable size for a bond wire. So I'm going to go with new body because I want the bond wire to be separate. And again, I'm going to make it out of gold. So and move this around. Oh, that's gonna look so cool. It does kind of stick out over the top, so I might have to tweak this slightly, but wait, hang on. What am I hiding? Oh, the die for some reason. I was wondering what was going on there. Okay, this is gonna look kick-ass when I'm... So... Let's hide the bodies on that. Hide the bodies. Yeah, that's kind of cool. The only problem is that yeah. So I'm actually gonna so luckily I can remember that this was rotated by 5 degrees, because what I need to do is replicate all of them first and then do all of the manual tweaks for yeah, rotation, because otherwise I'm going to move them in a weird way and it's going to get really annoying. So it was minus 0.285 and 8 of them in total. No, not extents spacing. Yeah, like this one at the end is going to be a bit of a reach, but I think it should be okay. Don't want to do that. Cool. So let's tweak these. Hopefully I won't need to muck about too much with the sizing on these. Hopefully it should just reach. Hmm. Right, let's get these bond wires finished. What's happened there? Oh, right. I wonder what happened there. Right. Well, sketch visible. Then. Oh, is that from inside the bond wire? No. Oh, it's there. Okay. Last set to do now. Yes, indeed, bond wires. Lots and lots of bond wires. This is going to take a little while to get these done. Well, it has taken a little while to get these done. I am actually just tweaking the last one now. There we go. There we go. I think that looks a little bit like a microchip. Well, a CCD, rather. And this whole thing, so this whole thing is going inside. Let me... Give me one moment. Turn the housing back on. So this little thing is going inside a camera. And that camera is going in this sort of robot head along with these cameras. So it's going to have 3 of these and then an array of these tiny cameras with the actual CCDs modeled in them. And then that is going to be part of a larger robot that has legs that look like this. But that is not finished yet, so let's turn the leg back off. Yeah, the level of detail is kind of silly. This one might be a little on the over the top side, even by my standards. But hey, it's fun. Like, that's basically what you're going to see of that chip. Probably not even that, because there's glass going to be over the top of it. So you kind of just like, hey, check out the detail. But it's fun, so I'm happy. Right. So the next thing is I don't know. So let's go back into this. So if I turn these bodies off so I can actually see what I'm doing. So I think in the back of there, I'm going to change the material at the very back. I wonder if a nitride coating would look good in there, or whether it would look weird. I think it might look weird. I think we'd be better off with something like what do we got as options here? I think like a polished silver in there might look kind of cool. Yeah, exactly. Zero practical reason. Other than that, like, the thing is, it doesn't even support. Well, okay, so Fusion 360 does support video rendering, but only in the cloud, because it's fully ray traced. So when you do a local render, it's like actually fully ray tracing everything. So obviously doing that for, you know, even 5 seconds at 10 FPS is going to take a very, very long time. I mean, I'm running on a pair of 28 core 28 core 56 thread CPUs, and even with that, it takes a long time to render, particularly at 2160p. But yeah, trying to do that in for video, you can cloud render it, but it costs like a bunch of cloud credits. And the number doesn't sound like a lot. It's like 30 cloud credits or something. And then you go and find out that 100 cloud credits is like £400. So it's like, that's really expensive. Right, let's make a a lens. What's the easiest way to do that? I'm going to create an axis through the center of that, I believe. That's a good way of doing it. Turn off the CCD die for that. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, turn off the frame and the die. And construct an axis. Or axis at center? Is that a thing? No. I think there was a... Oh, I think I can just do that. Yeah, I can. Perfect. So then using that axis and an offset plane, construct offset plane. So what I can do... Wait, do I need the offset plane? I think I do. No, I don't. Because then what I do is I construct a plane at angle. Yeah. And then when I create a sketch, so I'm going to come up to about here, I think. And then what's the yeah, I want to come to about here. Yeah. Yeah. Like that angle, that looks kind of good. And then just basically do the same, and we have it thicker in the center. Maybe, of course, I need to hate that. I like that as a shape. And just join them up. Finish. So then let's put glass lens on the front of that. Let's see what that looks like. See what that looks like in the render window. That's pretty neat. Don't think I need the construction axis anymore. So let's see what that looks like with an in-canvas render. Alright, see ya. I think that looks pretty cool. But I think the glass still needs some frosting to it. Like, not frosting, but like a bit of tint to it. So I use clear glass there. But I think like a very light blue or a light grey, I think. Light colour, I think it says, is one of them, which is just grey. What does that look like? What does it look like further back? Like this distance. Nah, it's still too transparent. There's a one that is actually called like grey. Yeah, it's like tinted grey. I think part of the reason it looks so clear, yeah, that also looks too clear. I think part of the reason it looks so clear is that this, it's, yeah, like the absorption distance is 50 millimeters, but this is a tiny, tiny little component. So if I bring that down a little, and then like thin grey, let's go with, let's call it that. Nope, still. Let's bring that like way down to like 1 millimeter and reassign it just in case, because sometimes fusion is a bit weird. Wow, that's still really clear. Let's like really bring this down to like 0.1. 0.05. Just for funsies. There we go. That's getting more towards what I wanted. So let's make it ever so slightly less than that. So let's go with like 7.5. Oh, that's nice. That's a decent. Yeah, I like that. Hopefully the audio and frame rate and everything doesn't crap out when I that. Yeah, it's funny. OBS warns me that I've got high CPU usage, but still only using like 1% CPU from actual OBS, so whatever. Cool, right. I like that. That works. So now I've made one camera. Let's make lots of them. So go back to head, turn bodies back on so I can see what I'm doing. So each of these cameras is going to sit on a little like pivot thing, so it can like move left and right to some level. I'm thinking maybe 8 of these. Maybe. We will see. So that's the actual camera unit at the top. Should have written high on that. That would have been funny. Oh, I wonder what it'd look like if. So that's the lens, let's call it that. I wonder what it'd look like if we put a couple of little tiny red LEDs in here. Like, would that mess with the, oh, I forgot. Would that mess with the, sometimes when you're trying to make emissive stuff from behind glass, what happens is the light internally refracts inside the lens and creates like a fogging effect where the whole lens glows and you can't see what's underneath it. It's a bit like if you're trying to take a photo with your phone, if you've got a light from the side, it can like create this weird ghosting effect, and it's like the light refracting inside the lens on the front of the phone, and that can happen on this as well. Also, that's really annoying. I'm gonna have to turn that body back off, which is there. So I do actually have a material for this already. So all I really need to do is create a sketch, so I can just make a couple of little LED blippers. So maybe one like that and one. That. Like they are really small, so maybe it won't do anything. But it might look kind of cool to have that, yeah, that little bit of light coming out. Let's make them... Let's make them new bodies. LED 1, LED 2. And then... And I've got... maybe a bright red LED will work here because these are so tiny. Because otherwise, like the emissivity of this stuff is... wow, that's loud, sorry. Music on in the background. The emissivity of it is kind of based on size, so for something, I mean, that's like 0.2 millimeters or something ridiculous. Turn that on, and let's turn the bodies back on. And, canvas render. That looks kind of cool. Might need to put something behind it though. Yeah. Turn that lens back off. Yeah. It needs something underneath it because it looks kind of weird because this is it's a really reflective material. So if I take both of those LEDs and move them up slightly, and then I can put like a yeah, something very black underneath them. Take your time. Something like that. It's kind of cool looking. And then go like... I think that's probably fine. Oh wow, those LEDs are really tall. That's kind of funny. Let's turn the body off. I made those far too tall. That looks absurd. So let's do that. And I'll fix the LEDs because they look chaotic. Let's go. Imagine LEDs that tall. Kind of profile. Yeah. Right. Yeah, there's like a really dark coating material that I've got in mind for this, which I can't remember the name of. Carbon or something. No, not rubber. Metal coatings, black oxide, that's what it's called. It's kind of perfect for that. I also think that maybe that background being that reflective is not doing me any favors here. I think like something a bit darker. Oh, a metallic flake paint might look kind of cool. That's kind of cool looking. Or it might be, I don't know. It might look really weird. It's got like metal fleck, like you'd get on a, I don't know. I was about to say an expensive car, but to be honest, it makes that kind of like, yeah, metal flake. Look really gaudy. Although I suppose, yeah, expensive and gaudy do tend to go hand in hand. Where are I? Let's see what that looks like. Well, that's kind of cool. Oh, that looks pretty awesome. I'm like this far back. I come way far out and then render it. Yeah, that looks cool. I like that. Cool. Right. So what we need now, a mount for them. So I think that's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a loft that goes from square to round, and then on the square end it's going to turn into like a rounded triangle at the bottom, and then that will be, yeah, I think that works quite nicely as an idea. So let's turn these bodies back off again because I don't need those. So yeah, yeah, I think that's reasonable. So we're going to have offset plane by 4mm. That's reasonable. I don't want it to be too tall because that would look really weird. And then I'm gonna go kind of this size, smaller than the actual thing, but not fully encompassed. It's kind of like halfway between. It's 5mm by 5mm as well, which is quite nice. Yeah, it's not quite. Yeah, it doesn't fully encompass the circle, but it's not encompassed by the circle. It's kind of halfway between the two, which I quite like. It's a pretty good effect when you do a loft. I'm gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be the same, part of the same body anyway. So loft. There you go. Done. I think that looks kind of cool. Did that make a new body? No, it didn't. Wait. Yeah, no, it didn't. Oh. So then from there, what can be done is if I construct a plane angle 90, because I'm gonna and then what you do is this then comes down into a kind of rounded triangle kind of thing. So let's say the pivot is actually there. So the way of doing this is using a straight line first. So what that lets you do is it lets you find the point on the circle where, as you've got a line coming in, it's the point where the line is perfectly parallel to the surface of the circle. You can't do that with a curved line, so you're just kind of guessing. But then you can take a spline off the back of that and then curve round with the, so like this. You take the same point, tick, and then you can tweak this end, which is a very useful thing to be able to do. Just gives it that little extra bit of a curve round rather than rather than it being a little weird and kind of get this like abrupt angle edge. But if you want to soften that off, you can just use that trick. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I should be able to replicate that because the point that I used was on the grid. I've got to be careful here because I do believe that that is the end. And then, yeah, again, let's just bring that up to there, which I think is correct. Looks correct to me. And then you can just use the snip tool to get rid of the lines. And draw a line between these two to turn it into a profile, and then jump on that. And in fact, no, I won't snip that other bit because I'm going to need that. So put the hole through the middle. Meters. So then, just a case of like there is still a little edge there, and I believe I can fillet that actually. Can. Do the actually be kind of cool to fillet all of that. There we go. Hmm. Yeah, I like that. Although I have actually technically done that sideways, but I can rotate this whole piece. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. No, I have done it the right way because because it'd be rotating left and right is the idea, rather than up and down. Yeah. Yes. Hmm. I actually wonder whether two pairs at the top doing this, and then one pair at the front that can move up and down like that would be kind of good. Although I suppose for front-facing vision, it's got the full-size cameras. But if it wanted side vision, well, yeah, it's got the side cameras, doesn't it? So. And the end ones are going to be facing kind of upwards anyway. Well, sorry, outwards anyway. So, yeah, I think this is fine. Okay, so yeah. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a component called small camera pair. No. Small camera array. And then I'm going to pop that into there. So now I need to re-enable the bodies here so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah. So what needs to happen here is to go 4mm that way. And then create a copy is 8mm this way. So then this pair of cameras is going to come up. I think that's about right. I like this playlist, but occasionally it's got some weird music in it. Actually wonder whether I want that, like maybe another 2.5 watt. I don't want it to go too high because ideally, yeah, I think that's about right. So if I go back into head, that looks pretty cool. And they can rotate outwards. Should have been doing that. Oh no, I was doing that in there. So that's the first set. So then the second set, let's capture the positions first. Second set, I'm going to come forwards, down, and tilt upwards. Yes. So create a copy. And on the left side, it's going to be the easiest way to do it. So they're going to come maybe go, so they got to go 30, 60, 90. Yeah, so 30 degrees is correct. Up a little bit there. Yeah. And copy again. Oh yeah, that's already starting to look really cool. So down. These are gonna come like way down. I might not make them perfectly. Might make them like -85. Oh, like just ever so slightly facing up. I kind of like it like that because, yeah. I think that looks kind of cool. Hmm. Yeah. I like that. So now I need a housing for them. So I think it's easiest just to create a sketch off the side of there. What's gonna happen is that's at 30 degrees, although position, so go like there. Why is that? Why is that wrong? It should be 60 degrees, but it isn't. That's also wrong. Odd. Yet somehow 62.5 works. Very strange. So it's not quite right either. Like, very odd. I don't know whether messed up an angle at some point. That also looks not quite right, but it doesn't really matter down this side because I can't see that in the there we go. So then what's going to happen here is this weird looking thing is this way. Yeah. Yeah, you could do like a pattern on path. So you could create a Bezier curve and then just do pattern on path and then it will just follow at a certain distance. Which maybe I should have just done that. In fact, I might do that. Because that's going to look a lot nicer, I think, actually. So, good idea. Yeah, because I do like this, but There's something about it that isn't quite right. Also, hello. So yeah, let's so then I'm gonna need an offset plane for this, I think. Because it needs to go, like, yeah, you can have the path follow, but it needs to go through the center of one of these. Yeah, that's perfect, 6mm. So then if I create a sketch on there, I can have them follow a curve down. How far down is that? Oh, it's there. Okay. Much lower. So it's about here. So then they're going to come down to... Because I do want them to go kind of slightly more forward. So like maybe there. Oh, and I need to turn off the... Oh wait, I can select through, can't I? I think I got that switched off. Yes. I was wondering why that wasn't working properly. So let's maybe have this last one go like here. This does look like it's going to bring the middle ones really far out. I suppose I could just tweak them after the fact. Or I could bring this in, which would frankly make sense. Maybe there? Okay, let's try that. So those two create pattern on path. Yeah. And oh, does it rotate them? Oh no, here we go. Does rotate them. Good. Oof. Oh yeah, that's much nicer. Yeah, I think that looks nicer. Cleaner. I think this one kind of looks spaced a bit further away to here, but it isn't. It's because this big knee comes up and over, and because this starts to tilt, it makes this space versus this space look very different, even though it's also... I just realized why. Because this line starts in the wrong position. It's to start in the middle, so actually, yeah, I need to redo that. Because this needs to be here-ish. Right here. Maybe like that. Yeah, no, it's because the initial distance is based off the center of the body. So when it was going along the path, it was starting the path at the front, which added 1/2 of the object's y-axis width to the starting position, which shifted everything along, which made the spacing wrong. So if I now do it, it should look a lot better. Pattern on path. Select the path, path direction. So now if I pull them along, and that should also be 4. Much nicer. It's still a little further there than it is here, but it looks way better. Yeah, I like that. So what I'll probably end up doing is just tweaking this one manually. Because so if I move this like, yeah. That make it look wrong? Really? I think that looks okay. Well, that just kind of maybe about half as much as that. Like maybe just half a millimeter that way. Yeah, I like that. Still looks cool. Okay. So then no, because when you're viewing it like this, it's not going to look like that. Like, that's the thing. When you get up this high, because of the way that this little ridge bit sits, it actually starts to make it look too much, like too big a space at the top. So you need to narrow it over this way, even though it is mathematically perfect. Your eye sees it differently. You'll see what I mean when if I switch back here. Like, that looks perfectly fine. And then I'm going to fix it by, I mean, it's going to look even better when the actual, like, joint parts are there. Where are we? Small camera array. So, now this time, I'm going to use, oh, I've just realized that that sketch is still visible. I want it to be visible. No, no, thank you. Wait, hang on. Yeah, this one. That's fine. Okay. So that curve is going to come up to here. Wait. Why have I put it there? That's in completely the wrong place. It needs to be like here. And then this goes like that. This isn't going to be perfect. Because you're barely going to see it. It's just for the like, it's got to be good enough. Just when I extrude this, it's going to leave a channel that wide all the way through, and then I'll have to go in afterwards and like tidy it up because the yeah, this is going to look weird otherwise. So I'll take that and then see what I mean in a moment. 20 millimeters. Yeah. So you get these like channels, and I don't want the full size channels. Like I don't want them to be all stepped like that. That looks weird. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill these in with like a curve coming down. I think maybe I don't know. This look pretty cool though. So I'll then make that look out of yeah, I could use constraints, but I mean, to be honest, I could put in like joints and have all of this fully like movable, but that's a lot of work. He says as he just like modeled a entire CCD die and bond wires and everything for a camera that you can barely see. Whatever. Right, let's just make that matte black plastic for now. See what that looks like when I move back out. That looks kind of cool. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very, very true. So I think this is going to look even better in a minute when I change the rotations of these. What I'm thinking is like go out slightly, out a bit more, out slightly, straight. Maybe. Or like straight, out slightly, out a lot, straight. I like the idea of these being splayed out a little bit though at the top. Save that. What does that look like in render mode? Ah, yeah, there is one slight issue there, which is that the joint here is far too smooth. It needs to actually, like, what really needs to happen is it needs to come in, and there needs to be a fillet on this corner, and then have this base. Because that way it looks like this is, you know, like when you have a camera and you have the lens that separately moves on the top. So it needs to be obviously separate. I could fillet it, or I could cheat. There's one way to fillet it, would just be to slice through, make it a separate body, add the fillet, and then rejoin the two. Or I could use an axis, make a plane, and then draw the curve in, and then rotate it as a subtraction. Don't think it really matters which way I do it though. Well, I mean, it's not like the drone is yeah, it's not like the drone is bounded by biological binocular vision processing. No, the drone knows where its eyes are, therefore it can see past everything together. It knows where its eyes are because it knows where its eyes aren't. Is that the meme? I can never remember. Okay, I think I already have a construction axis actually, which would make this a lot easier. Oh no, that's not the right axis. There is still an axis in this one though. Yes, there is. Perfect. In fact, there might even be a midplane. Oh, there is. There's already a midplane. Well, that makes this. Why did I hide that axis? That makes this very trivial. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, yeah, let's go in by like 0.05 and then I don't like the idea of having this little extra Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's okay. And then I can just need to hide the camera body. Go and select these two things and then show the camera body and then do a rotate. Set the axis as this axis. Here we go, 360 degree subtraction. That gives it more of a obvious. Yeah. I can't remember what I was using it for. Oh, I used it to make the lens. That's why. Let's scope back up to head. See what that looks like in a render. Looks pretty cool. That. My favorite is still when you look down the ends of these. You don't see as much glow from the sides, but when you're looking straight on, because of the geometry of the glass that's inside this thing, as you get like right into its plane of view, the glow goes like suddenly up. And the hexagon part makes this kind of like cool, like three blobs effect. Ooh. Sorry, it does look like I am dropping frames a little when I'm doing these renders. Yeah, I mean, like, so if I take the glass off the top of this and look inside, yeah, like the PCB has layers. I am going fully ham with the ridiculous level of detail on this one. I mean, the CCD die is not so much HAL. Yeah, no, not so much inspired by HAL, but I guess yeah. When I, fully enough, when I actually when I made this and then saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that does kind of look like HAL. Even though that wasn't the intent, it just ended up looking like that. But it was kind of cool. I'm happy with that. But yeah. I need to at some point get around to actually doing the body of this, because so what's going to happen is this this is the head. The head can rotate, and then that sits on a rail. So the rotating head actually sits on a rail, and then the rail moves over the body, so it can be like at the front or the back or on the top if it wants. And then obviously it's got like legs sticking out the side. So the idea is it can like rotate and move its head around. So if it wants to turn around, it doesn't actually have to turn around. Its head just moves to the other side, and the robot just walks the other direction, which is kind of cool. I liked that as an idea. So yeah. I don't think it's got enough cameras. It needs more cameras. Right. So let's go back into the camera array. This is not the most complicated thing I've done in F360. The most complicated thing I did in F360 was I made a full set of... I made a full 3D render of the outline demo party hall. Some pictures, actually. Renders that I did from that. So... this was a lot of work. Like, an absurd amount of work. And a few more, I think, actually. Some of these are just yeah, some of these are previs shots. Like, these aren't I don't think all of these are finals. Yeah, like, that's definitely not a final. Yeah, this was before I got Walls model. This that was a lot of... yeah, the DJ decks was a lot of fun to model. Oh yeah, that was fun as well. So that's actually a reference to something that happened. Somebody duct taped a Grolsch crate to the ceiling and then took the paint off the ceiling, and we had to repaint it. There we go. That's one of the wide shots of when I was nearly finished with all of this. But yeah, this was a lot of work. And that Amiga, if you lifted the... if you like hid the top part of the Amiga, the plastic, I actually modeled the PCB on the inside and the power supply and everything, even though you can't even see it in the slightest there. But I don't know, it was fun. Yeah. There was a lot of random jokes in here. There's a lot of references. I think that phone number at the bottom is it was like it's like the Dutch embassy or something. I don't remember. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to make. Yeah, that was by far the most complicated thing I ever did in Fusion, and that's kind of that was one of the first projects that I did that was like really using it not as a like an individual part or component modeling tool, but actually using it for a real like a scene, which Fusion is very much not built for. But I find the thing I like about Fusion is the materials library, because you know, additive and subtractive modeling in other tools is okay. It doesn't have the sketch thing, which I really like in pretty much any other tool. You don't get like the whole you draw it as a 2D sketch, and then it's more like adding and subtracting out primitives, which, you know, it's not the end of the world. But the biggest thing for me is like the materials, because if I can't put materials on them automatically, like really quickly, just drop, oof, there's a material, then I can't iterate, and I can't, I don't get that like rapid development thing, and my ADHD brain just goes no. And having all those materials just there is nice. Like, there's some things you can't do in Fusion. As I said, you can't do real time, you can't do video, you can't do volumetric effects like smoke. There are some workarounds for that. For example, in the render view, if you disable a bunch of objects and then render with the transparent background option enabled, you can do you can effectively split your scene into planes. But you have to be really careful because anything where you've got like emissive parts, well, if you hide the things that have got emissive parts in them, the light isn't the same. Or if they're in front of something that's got, in front of a light or something, then the lighting changes between the shots. So when you restack them up with the transparent PNGs, the lighting goes kind of weird. But you can do some clever stuff. I mean, if you put a bit of extra work in, you can do it. There is a plugin called Keyshot. It's a third-party program, and you can take... So Fusion doesn't have a thing where you can export textures, materials. You can't... you can export like STLs and OBJ files and whatever, and they have material information, but they don't have materials. So they don't actually have the color and the texture and everything baked in. You just basically get a tag that says, oh yeah, this is, copper, or this is steel or whatever, which is not very useful if you want to then import it back into something else, because then you've got to like repaint all of the textures manually. It's an absolute nightmare. Yeah, exactly. Yes, and you can see all the volumes and everything. Yeah, for parts manufacturing, it's perfect for that. So one of the cool things that Keyshot does is if you... So it's basically it's an external renderer, and it lets you add a bunch of additional things like volumetric fog and blah, blah, blah. And also export it as a textured material. But the way it works is it has its own minimal stock materials library. And when it exports the data, what it does is it takes all of those texture tags and retextures everything as if, using its own version of the materials. The thing is, it is quite limited, and most of the time, if you were doing it that way, you have to basically retexture everything. Particularly if you're doing anything with like decals or anything with where you've modified the UV on the texture, so like realigned it or whatever, like the texture projection. So yeah, it's really, really cool, but it is a lot more extra work. I think for something smaller, I would totally do... like if I wanted to make a really nice looking render for something that was a little less complicated. I mean, imagine manually reassigning the material for every single body in this thing. Like, it would take forever. But for something less complicated, it would be quite nice. And I will eventually get around to doing a project like that. Something that's like very simple but looks really nice, and then do a really, really good render in it. I think they also have a CUDA renderer, but it wasn't very good when I last used it. It had a lot of like weird artifacts and stuff. That was very strange. Sorry, my wife is. Oh, and my favourite track just came on. Deutschland by Rammstein. I've got tickets to see them next year, and I'm really, really hoping that it goes ahead. But I'm getting less and less convinced that it will happen because Omicron and all that. Right, how am I going to do this? If you've never seen the music video to Deutschland by Rammstein, treat yourself and go and watch it on YouTube, because holy crap, that is a music video. Yeah. We were going to go see Machine Head. I've never actually seen them before, and I was really hyped to go see them, and that got rescheduled twice and then cancelled. And then I was supposed to go see Hatari, and I think that's been rescheduled 3 times now. Although my favorite thing about the Hatari one though was the tour was called Europe Will Crumble, and when they cancelled the tour or rearranged it, it was like I'm afraid we've had to reschedule the gig because Europe has crumbled. It's just like, all right, but very very Hatari as well. If you're unfamiliar with them, they're the very shouty Icelandic ones from Eurovision. Very good. I'm gonna do this. I'm thinking maybe. Yeah, H2DV is really good. Oh, it's hard to pick a. It's hard to pick a favorite. I think Deutschland is up there. They were the first band I ever went and saw live, which, in hindsight, was perhaps a mistake because it just ruined every other band because they were just so good. I think I saw them for so hang on. It was for the Riser. Yeah, it was for the Riser tour. Well, yeah, basically it was the first band I ever saw, and they were just ridiculous live. I mean, of course they got all the pyro and everything, but the stage design and just their presence and everything about it was just incredible. It was awesome. Yeah, that was the Riser tour as well. Which, come on. Yeah, that should be fun. It sounds like they kind of got a lot better in the last, I don't know, yeah, last few years or whatever. Sort of spread their musical style a little bit. I used to hate them when I was a teenager, but yeah, like a couple of their new tracks actually were really good. Hang on. Yeah, we'll eventually get back to modeling this thing. It was a fairly recent track that came out. Discography, here we go. Or was it actually really old and this is the first time I've heard it? Probably. Yeah. Maybe it was like a re-recording or something, but it sounded pretty good. Yeah, when I was a teenager, MCR was like, that's emo music. I was such a music snob as a teenager. Now I just don't care. I ain't got time for that. Listen to what you like. Right, I'm going to quickly... What was it, 2016? Okay. Maybe. The other one was... Oh, who was it? They did a music video where they were vampires. Huh. Oh, how old was I? I think I would have been... Yeah, like year... It's a good point. Well, it's what, 2004? Get that one right. Yeah, so I would have been in, yeah, year 11. Yeah, I would have been 16 when that came out. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was more of a System of a Down, Slipknot, um, Rammstein. Trying to even think what I used to listen to back then. CKY. Yeah, I was gonna say if you're 35, I would imagine you would have been in your second year of sixth form or whatever. Yeah, yeah. I'm 2 years younger than you. Yeah, I liked did like Metallica. I didn't listen to a lot of Metallica, but I did like Metallica. Foo Fighters I got into a bit later. Really got into them for a little while. Still listen to them. Chili's as well. Nirvana. Nirvana I didn't really like when I was a teenager, but I got into them way more as I got older. Also, if you haven't heard it, there's a guy, Little Roy, uh, did a reggae cover album of Battle for Seattle, and it's fantastic. Um, it's like a proper, yeah, proper reggae complete cover of that album, and it's genuinely really good. It sounds cheesy, but it's actually really good. Made me laugh when I first saw it, but yeah, it was great. Who else would I have been into? I actually do have a playlist of like all of the old school random stuff that I used to. Linkin Park, of course. First album I ever bought, Hybrid Theory. Um, Green Day, I used to like Green Day. Blink, Offspring, Evanescence. I used to like Evanescence. Yeah, System. I used to listen to all of System, just so much System. Slipknot, Incubus. I used to like Incubus. Weezer, Limp Bizkit. I used to like Limp Bizkit and Papa Roach as well. Yeah, like all that kind of stuff when I was proper new metal kid. Marilyn Manson. I used to like as well. Didn't get into Slayer until much older. Rage. I used to like. Queens of the Stone Age. I actually got. I used to like Placebo. Just like a few of their like more well-known tracks. And then when I was, I don't know, like in my mid 20s maybe, I'd forgotten about them completely, and then sort of just got back into them. Like just, I think I heard somebody play. It wasn't the Kate Bush one. It was Nancy Boy. I heard somebody playing Nancy Boy. It might have been my dad actually. And I was just suddenly like, "Oh, that's a great track." I haven't listened to Placebo in forever, and then massively got back into them. I've been to see them 2, 3 times now. Right, let's quickly get this done, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I need to get some food. And yes, it is 1:40 a.m. here, but I do actually need to get some food because I've only eaten once. Okay. Well, that's not going to work, is it? Oh yes, it is going to work because I can. Yes, I can project it. Yeah, it is in fact 1:40 in the morning. There we go. Right. So let's go down to like. So my theory here is if I something like that. And then when I sweep it along, I finish the sketch there. I sweep this along this line, but I make it as a, and this should be parallel. Oh, it would intersect itself, wouldn't it? In this direction. And it can't do that. Which is very irritating. Actually, no, I can do it the other way, but it wouldn't intersect itself if I used this line, because then the... Yeah, okay. Wait, no, it should be perpendicular. Wait. The path is tangent to the profile. I mean, it isn't. I'm specifically looking at the profile. Oh, because it thinks that's part of it. Oh, still doesn't like it. Ah, wait, what's going on here? Why is it going in that direction? Oh, that was working a minute ago. Okay, so just that one. Why no work? Oh, because it still thinks this is the damn path I'm trying to walk up. There we go. I mean, I don't know why it's done that. Oh, because that's a line. Oh, so maybe that wasn't the problem, actually. So let's... No, that is going to be the problem, because it... that's very irritating. I think I can cheat here. I think I can cheat. So what I can do is I can go that path. Yeah, I don't need that at all. And this one definitely don't need. So that'll create this. Then let's make that a new body. Then wait, what? Oh yeah, here isn't it? So then I can do a pattern along the path, make this the path. Why? It treats all of this as the path. Oh, actually, that doesn't matter because I can just use spacing. And also, this needs to follow the path direction. Oh, that doesn't work in the slightest, does it? It just doesn't work. But yes, the thing is that this the cutouts weren't based on the weren't actually based on this curve. I just manually did them. So these are going to be wrong. I'm just going to rotate them back though, because that's like, as long as I get them roughly in the right place, it's probably fine. Like, it's fine, whatever. Just gonna fix it. We'll do it live. And then I'm going to set the pivot point to this corner because that's the closest one. Z fighting. Lovely. Doesn't look great, but I don't care. Yeah, I'm gonna cheat because I'm gonna basically move all of these into place. I'm gonna merge them, and then I'm gonna snip off all of the bits that are sticking out, and I'll get like a little flat on the top, but it'll look good enough. And I can mirror them over, so I won't have to do this twice. Then, where are I? 5. Oh, I mean, that still didn't do what I do, but whatever. Yeah, that's a problem. You get this little lip bit there, but I think I can fix that. I can fix that. Close enough. Yeah, because then I can just extrude this to make it. I need to turn that off, otherwise it's going to merge the two already, and I don't. Right. So then I take these 4 bodies. Oh, I need a mid plane down here, or yes, I need a mid plane. So, good way to do that is construct an offset plane, 10 mil, and these 4 mirror plane here. There we go. Perfect. Like that. Yeah. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this sketch again. I'm going to basically just draw a big box. About here. Yeah. Then what I can do. Wait, what? What's happened there? There we go. Oh, hang on. This one is completely in the wrong position. Means that the other one is as well. So 7 and 3. That's not high enough up. Very reasonable. Right. So then what I can do is I can turn off all these cameras. Then I can take that and that. extrude all the way across. Actually, I need to turn off those, otherwise I'll eat those as well. What's being cut? That's too many objects. Why are the cameras being cut? Oh wait, no, they aren't. That is correct. That is actually what's supposed to happen. There we go. Then we merge them all back into one object and hide the sketch. And then when I turn all the cameras back on, perfect. I mean, it's not in the slightest, but it's good enough. So if I then come back out of here, re-enable these, go back out to the head, and I'm going to save. And then I'm going to take this camera array and I'm going to do a, hang on a minute, we've got an axis somewhere in here, there it is. I'm going to do a circular pattern, axis, this little pokey boy, 3 units. I think that looks very respectable. What I might do, I'm not sure I fully like the, yeah. Perfect, in the same way that a floating point number represents an integer in a perfect way. Perfect. So somewhere in here, I do have the, there we go, black oxide coating. And what I'm going to do is I actually kind of like the idea of just making the sides of these black. I think that looks better. Maybe. See in the in a render. So save that. Well, you always use a decimal and .NET when you can. You see, you can fix the problem just by having more bits. It's totally how it works, right? Zoom in a little bit. Oh, hang on. I'm in the design mode, so it doesn't actually matter yet. So let's... There is that. Choose this background color, it's a bit pink. Also, I didn't mean to press that button. Yeah, scene settings. Let's go a little bit more this way. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Oh, the glass makes that that middle bit look so weird, like with the warping, like around here. Very weird. I think that looks pretty cool. Like it's gonna need some weathering and stuff, but I can't do that really very well in Fusion. So what will happen is once all of this is done and rendered out, then that'll go into Photoshop or AE, and then I'll basically brush it. Well, probably Photoshop, and then I'll do like dry brushing effects on the corners, where you get that like wear on the corners. Just use like textured silver, that kind of thing, and then just tweak it in. Oh, oh wow. Apparently I dropped 25% of frames for a moment there, so I apologize. Oh yeah, I can see it on the stream. So yeah, sorry. Does the audio come through okay still while it's like dropping out? Physical one. No. Yeah, you know, I'll just etch the silicon myself. I'll go get in touch with you know, Ben Eater or somebody like that and get them to give me a hand. Do like that though. Yeah, the top-down view is around here-ish. Oops. Better with ever so slight bit of angle on it. Yep. I quite like that. I think that looks pretty cool. And then the leg as well is kind of awesome. I'm quite happy with how this is turning out so far. Yeah. I think that looks pretty good. Right, I'm going to call it for tonight because I really need to sort some food out. And I think my stream timer is actually not correct. I have not been streaming for 3 hours. I think it's been more like 4 because my machine crashed. But yeah, yeah. Thanks for hanging out. And I shall probably be back on before too long doing a bit more work on this. Maybe tomorrow, in fact. Yeah, I might be back on tomorrow. So yeah, cool. I will see you all soon. That would help if I had the right button, wouldn't it?